What up? Where's my water bottle? Ah. Put on the lucky chain. There it is. My second most prized possession is on. Let's freaking fracking go.
More.
All right, I think we're basically ready to go. We're not going to be too crazy long. I think we probably be like 20 minutes maybe, but let's bring this down a notch and let's get this show started. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome back to the Purple and Gold Bar Show. I'm your host, Supreme Overlord, aka Mr. AI Man 3000, aka Mr. Purple and Gold Bars, at your service. I want to first and foremost thank you all for joining me today. It's been a fun ride, and I can't wait to keep going on this journey with you guys. We are on the road to 500 subscribers, so I hope to reach that by the end of the calendar year. And with your help, we can definitely do it. So don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to subscribe. That way we can get the algorithm to pick it up and get it shared to every Vikings fan out there. You know, sometimes us Vikings fans need a little bit of positivity. So you guys know that I'm the optimistic, positive way of thinking. All right, so let's get to it, guys. Hey, what's up, MJ? What is going on? Let's get started. Let's see here. All right, so today I got a good one for you. We're going to have a good breakdown. We're going to go over a bunch of things. We're going to go over some of the Los Angeles Chargers things that we need to know. We got to go over some of the Minnesota Vikings things that we got to account for. We're also going to take a page out of history and see what happened the last time we met, because I've seen a lot of people talking and saying, man, after the last time we played, I'm scared. And I'm like, bro, let me look at this last game. Was this last week? Was this last year? No, it was back in 2023. So why are you scared? And then we're going to finish off with a full prediction of how I think the game's going to go, as well as a score prediction. So let's get to it. Let's get the intro started. All right, perfect. We got that taken care of here. Let's start with a little bit of an overview of what we got going in here. We got the 3-3 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Los Angeles to face the 4-3 Los Angeles Chargers. I know a good channel friend, D Woods, is going to be in the house, so hopefully that's going to give us the extra luck that we need, having one of our purple and gold gang in attendance. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, and I think Keith from Let's Go is going to be there. So hopefully these guys can bring that Vikings pride and some of that luck to our guys over in Los Angeles. Now, it's no secret that both of our teams are banged up, specifically at the O-line. Some people have even said that we're basically the mirror opposite. They're the AFC version of us, and we're the NFC version of them. We've been suffering with a whole bunch of injuries. They've got a ton on the O-line, as well as their running back room is depleted, completely devastated through injuries. Um, on top of ours, compared to us, where we have a pretty banged up O-line, although we're starting to get healthy. And we're just a little bit further ahead when it comes to getting our guys back. So not sure how much that's going to play a factor for us, but it's definitely going to be a factor for the Los Angeles Chargers since they're a little bit more banged up. We know Joe Alt says he's going to he plans to play, but is he going to be on a snap count? Is it going to be something that's too early and something might happen because as soon as we start seeing real NFL speed, he might throw in the towel, or heaven forbid the worst might happen. I don't want to speak that into existence because you guys know how I feel when it comes to injuries. So there are some things that are negatively weighing down on these LA Chargers that I think are going to level up the playing field, because you got things like home field advantage and other factors that usually would kind of lean too much to one side. But I think, with all being said, the injuries, the home field, everything, I feel like it becomes a bit of a wash. So it's going to be which team is going to want it more. I feel like I was saying in the weekly picks, I feel like we got like a 53% chance, while the Chargers have like a 47% chance. So essentially a coin flip. And I feel like the more that I dove into this today, I feel more confident in that assessment. Now, the chart. Let's start with the Chargers. The Chargers are 4-3 after a red hot 3-0 start. They've had some bad losses. They lost to the Giants, and they lost to the Colts last week. And I can't remember the last one that they lost there, but two different losses in which a lot of people thought they would be competitive in, and so that's what we're seeing from an injured Chargers team. It's not the team that started 3-0 before all the injuries kind of put a damper on their season, right? We got Rashawn Slater. He's an offensive tackle. He's out. Plays a factor to our gives us a little bit of an advantage when it comes to our pass rush. Like I was saying, the running back room is depleted. Ryan, what's going on, buddy? And so Najee Harris, Omari Hampton, Hassan Haskins are all out right now. So their running back stable is completely depleted, which means right now they are a very one-dimensional style team. They can only basically win through one way, and that's through passing. And we've seen what they could try to do, but because the Colts are a more balanced team and they can attack you with the running game, and they got a great defense, it was just too much for these Colts. I'm hoping that we're closer to a balanced team because of our injuries have now brought us closer to the team that we expected to see coming into the season. Now, all we need is just to kind of keep playing together as we get healthy to build up that discipline. So we're not seeing all these careless penalties and interceptions or fumbles, just bad plays in general. You know what I mean? The inconsistency is hopefully going to start weeding itself out over the next couple of weeks. So I'm optimistic that we're just a little bit further down the timeline of recovery. So that's going to give us the edge that we need. Now, Khalil Mack has been limited, and so there's no sure how effective he's going to be. There's no doubt that he is an incredible defensive talent. So we're definitely going to see what he can produce. On top of the fact, absolutely. So absolutely, Ryan. So if we can get our running game going, it's going to be quite difficult for these Chargers in the state that their O-line is right now. On top of their safety is questionable. So, is he going to be up to par? Is he going to be at a snap count? Is he going to be able to perform the way that he normally does? These are kind of anecdotal evidence pieces to say that there might be a little bit more that we can capitalize and take advantage in this game. When it comes to the offense, they are, like I was saying, they're very one-dimensional. Last week, they were able to put up 24 points, and Justin Herbert threw for like 420 yards. He completed 70% of his passes, or 70% of his passes were within 9 yards of the line of scrimmage, right? Which is a clear indication that they were trying to avoid the pass rush, which is something that Brian Flores' schemes can really capitalize on because we do a lot of simulated pressure. If they continue to check down to these quick passes in order to avoid the pressure and then they accidentally throw into coverage, that can really play heavily into Brian Flores' scheme and what he does best. And Justin Herbert in general, his production generally dips under a heavy blitz. So we blitz 40% of the time, second highest in the NFL, so that's playing a factor here. And as a result, from their running backs being very injured, they've moved to a very pass-heavy offense. So 65% of their plays are passes, and as a result, they're a very one-dimensional team. And we're going to expect to see the same. So with a Vikings team that is, top 10 in a lot of the pass defense stats and top 5 in a bunch of them as well, I think it's going to play to our strengths, where the more passes you throw, that's just more opportunities for our players to come away with an interception, pass breakups, and kind of stifle a lot of this offense because they are relying heavily on the pass. Now, we have to be worried because Keenan Allen is a great receiver. So, but one thing is allowing a bunch of passing yards, and then another thing is allowing a bunch of passing yards and a bunch of touchdowns or points. That's one thing that this Minnesota Vikings defense is really good, because our points against is really, really good. We don't let teams run the score on us, and we can keep teams to a low-scoring game, which kind of leads us to being able to stay in games. That's the reason why every single game that we've been in, we've had a chance to win. We haven't always pulled it off, but that is a great strength to have from this team. So Keenan Allen's going to be a factor, Ladd McConkey, right? So there's going to be some things to kind of keep an eye on, but with the return of Malik Cashman and Harrison Smith getting basically already getting almost back to 100%, it's just going to lead us to hopefully a better performance compared to their offense, right? So the protection challenge that the Chargers have against our blitz is going to be a massive factor for them. If Justin Herbert is not able to pick out the pressure coming, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. In the past, definitely we're going to look at the last game and we're going to see what's going to go on. But, I like that idea. It's a race to 24. The way that I'm thinking, I think we're close in mind, Ryan, here. And so now, like I was saying, the Vikings blitz 40% of the time, the second in the NFL, and we also lead in disguised pressure and whatnot as well. So if Justin Herbert doesn't pick that out, it could be a very, very bad day for him when it comes to throwing the ball. And then if he gets behind, it's going to be just an easier one-dimensional offense to kind of play around, right? Now, without your top running backs and tackles, this defense, Brian Flores' defense, is going to be an absolute nightmare for their game plan, for their offensive coordinator, and most importantly for Justin Herbert. So that's definitely something to keep in mind there. Going into the defense right now, the defense defensive coordinator, second year as a defensive coordinator, so he's starting to kind of get his chops here. They're 17th in scoring, 13 in total defense, 19th versus the run, and 8th versus the pass. So they're not all-time top-tier level when it comes to their defense. They've allowed 27 plus points in 3 straight games, and I feel that is more of a representation of what they are now than compared to the first 3 games when they weren't as injured, right? So it kind of leads to an advantage Vikings there. Now the run defense has had issues. They've been gashed by Dobbins, 7.5 yards per carry, Scatabo, 7.9 yards per carry, Devin Achane, 8 yards per carry, Jonathan Taylor, 5.9 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. So that run defense is going to be susceptible, right? And with the return of Aaron Jones is going to give them another thing to worry about and fear. And I'm hoping that now that we've kind of got to this stage, I think that we're going to try to hopefully we can get the beginnings of a competent running duo starting to emerge starting this week going forward. So, advantage Minnesota Vikings, but there are other things to worry about, right? So their pass rush in front seven, when Khalil Mack is on, can be top tier, right? But they have other guys like Odafe Owe, which is a new addition. Tui Palutu. So bad at pronouncing some of these, but he's their breakout edge. He's been doing really, really good, So the strength, very much so, it comes from their offensive, their trenches, right? Jim Harbaugh is known for building the trenches. That's where he starts, and right now his O-line trench is a shell of itself. Even with Joe Alt coming back, it's going to be a factor. And then the defensive line is also injured and not performing the way that they've needed to over the last 3 weeks. And maybe it's because they're on the field too much. Maybe it's because the time of attack, all that fun stuff, they're just too tired and they're just breaking down by the end of the game. Therefore, the stats make it look a lot worse than they are. But it is a factor that they have to work around. And with our pass rush, the way that it's been performing recently, I think that that's a great sign for us. And then with their secondary, they're kind of up and down, and they've got some injuries as well, right? So something that we can totally take advantage of if we can have a good balance of 20 to 25 actual running plays, another 5 to 12 quick passes that mimic the same thing as a running game to create that defense to be more respectful of what we can do on offense. I think that we can do a lot of great things. Now, their special teams, they got a great kicker over there. Right now, he's 106 out of 112 for his career. He's 15 for 15 field goals this year, and if it wasn't for that camera wire that nobody seems to want to take accountability for, our kicker, Mr. Will the Thrill Riker, would be also 15 for 15. So let's keep that in mind. So that's a push right there, ladies and gentlemen. We got hopefully then the rest of the special teams, how we punt, how we return punts, and how we return kicks, hopefully will be the difference, giving us some shorter fields, letting the offense cook, and getting ourselves a good lead early to go. Now, when we look at the Minnesota Vikings, right, we know very well we're 3-3 in the NFC North, and 3-3 in the NFC, and 4th in the NFC North, right? So not a big surprise for me, considering I placed this team to be basically exactly what we are, a team that is going to have a lot of potential, and the team can definitely carry us to victory, but it's going to be on the hands of the quarterback and how well they can perform. Like I said, before the season, I didn't imagine all the injuries and then Carson Wentz having to play, but I imagined that this team would be good enough to handle the growing pains of J.J. McCarthy, and I think that more times than not, J.J. would find ways to get us the rest of the way, and the team would back him up. We've seen that. That's why we are where we are. We're a 500 team right now, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of, considering if we didn't have that capability, if we didn't have that strength, we could be 0-6. So because of the adversity that we faced last year and the lessons that we've learned, we have become a great team. And once this season gets healthy, once we start getting more consistent, once we start being more disciplined, I think we're going to be turning a lot of heads to finish the season. So the best is yet to come. Like I said, 2025 is the year that the Minnesota Vikings are forged in fire. So it starts tonight, guys. It starts tonight. And we're dealing with some injuries. J.J. McCarthy is out. Aaron Jones is back. He's off IR, Van Ginkel is out. It sucks. He's dealing with a neck injury. That is definitely one of the scariest injuries. You don't want to mess with that, so I'm not upset in the slightest. But the way that Eric Wilson has been playing, hands down, a great addition to this team. So I'm not overly concerned. But we have Blake Cashman back. We have Brian O'Neill. Christian Darrisaw, and Blake Brandel is emerging as a very competent center. Outside of that botch snap, and you know what? A lot of people are breaking that drop hand. What do they call it? The snatch drop hand technique or whatever. Everybody's saying that was a legit play, and we were robbed, right? But like I want to say, I never want to give any credence to that because, like I always say, guys, if we don't want the referees to play a factor, if we don't want missed penalties to play a factor, we got to put teams away. So the onus falls on us. We didn't do enough. I don't care what else. I don't care about the interceptions. I don't care. It's on us to put teams away regardless of how we start, regardless. We did it last year. There was a ton of games where we didn't start off strong and we were able to bring it back and then win convincingly. So we just need to get back to that. And I feel that that's going to come once we get stronger, once we get healthier and more consistent. Let me just cut up. What's going on, Delton? What's going on, Ryan? So let's see here. Yeah, if tonight, I agree. If we can establish the run, it's going to be a good sign for us. And we've only had one lead, and that was during the Bengals game. And I totally understand. But yeah, I think that we're in for a hard-fought win. Like I said earlier today, I think we got like a 54% chance to win, whereas the Chargers have like a 47% chance. That's just my gut intuition. And after I go through all the research that I made. So going forward, Justin Jefferson has to have a big game. Oh, another thing. If you guys haven't start saving for Skullfest, guys. It is an incredible event. You guys want to be there. A quick PSA. Get in there, start saving, and you will not regret going to Skullfest. It's a lot of fun. Now, back onto it. I think Justin Jefferson is going to be angry. I think he basically put up 80 yards and he dropped a pass that even if a defender gets a hand out there, he definitely usually comes down with it. So I think he's going to be coming out with a little bit of fire and a little bit of anger and looking to really settle the score and kind of shut the haters up. So I'm expecting a big game out of him as well as Jordan Addison, because with those two guys out there, it really opens up our offense. And with the return of Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason coupled with a bunch of quick passes and stuff like that, I think we can get a really good run game going / short passing game going to keep that defense honest and keep him from basically taking over, right? So, a really, really good style, right? So, now let's see here. Where I lost my train of thought. So anyways, but yeah, when we look at the Minnesota Vikings, I feel like we're just a little bit more healthy. We've got a little bit more pieces that have gotten caught up, whereas the Chargers are in a similar position and they're just not as healthy as we are. And I think that's going to level out the playing field, adding to the home field advantage and whatnot. That's why I give ourselves a 53% chance over their 46. And like I said, it's going to be a push between Will Riker and their kicker. So I'm looking forward to this matchup. Now, logically and based on everything, my intuition tells me that we win in a one-score game, most likely a field goal to end the game like we've done many games, or two out of the 3 games that we've had, right? So I feel like, and we always look to set ourselves up to win that way. Sometimes when we are coming back, we just can't complete that comeback, and it is what it is. So I feel like a 7-point victory or even a 3-point victory is very much what's likely going to happen. It's going to be a hard-fought battle from both sides, but I'm hoping that early in the game, our pass rush can really keep things difficult for Justin Herbert. Before they can adjust, we can get off to a good 7, maybe 10-point lead, and then try to do the way that we play in order to stay on top of them and come away with this win. Now, with that being said, my prediction, and if I try to be as realistic as possible, I can very much see a 24-21 victory, 24-20, 2017, something close to that. But what I really want to say, and I want to give you guys my overly optimistic prediction, because this is the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde season. One game we play incredible, one game we look terrible. One game we blow somebody out, then we fall back down to reality, right? It's a sign of the inconsistency, the injuries, and the type of team that we were going to be this year. I don't know about you, but I wasn't outside of a miracle chance. I didn't really give us a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. What was most important is that J.J. McCarthy got all the learning experiences that he could. And then if we got lucky and snuck into the playoffs, for him to get one game's experience, even in a loss, that way he can build towards his development. I think that's the type of team that we are. And with that being said, there are times in these situations where I really want to see our team take over. And this is a type of matchup that we can really be dominant in. If I just put the purple colored glasses on, I could very much well see the start of the game being very much like the start of a lot of the games that we had last year, where we just came out roaring, turnovers early to start, defensive scores, and then points on top of points, making it so that the teams that we faced had to overcome almost insurmountable odds in order to beat us. And the majority of the time, they weren't able to. Fast forward to this year, now we're a second half team where we seem to be inconsistent to start the game. And then all of a sudden, we end up being more of a threat, or after adjustments, we start really coming together. So hopefully, we can take a page out of last year's book and start the game that way, and then finish strong like we have this year in the second half. So I would very much love to see our pass rush land constantly in the first couple drives, ideally stalling out their designed play or their scripted play, and then doing like we did against the Eagles, where we consistently pin their ears back and just forced a whole bunch of defensive stops. And then if that can happen, coupled with a defensive turnover and a couple points that are put up by the offense, I want to see this team take full control and give the Minnesota Vikings fans that have traveled to Lo-Fi Stadium to really enjoy the investment that they made in themselves and give them a solid first half. And then I want to see our Vikings come out strong, make the adjustments that they need to further bury the team and come away with a blowout win. I would very much love to see the Vikings 35-12. But I know that's me drinking the purple Kool-Aid, looking through purple colored glasses, and I know that's not a reality or a probability. I know that's a possibility. That's a hope and a wish, but I would love to see it. But like I said, what I feel like is most likely going to happen is going to be a nice, hard-fought win where we come away with a one-score game, whether it's 3 points or 7 points. So that's what I'm thinking. And let me just tap back into the chat here, because we got some of the best Vikings fans in the chat. Ryan and Delton. Delton's always, man, Delton, man, when you were on Vocal Vikes and you were throwing down, man, you were throwing down massive nuggets of just great football talk, man. And I really appreciate you for being here today, and whenever you're in the chat, because I know that I'm going to learn something whenever you speak, man. So let's get in here. I want to see what everybody's saying, and I think a couple of things we've said already. Now, the Bengals game was the only game we scored a touchdown in the first quarter. Absolutely. So I'm hoping that we can kind of turn that around, like Delton said. Now, Delton says, the thing that pissed me off most on Sunday was the tempo. Absolutely. We consistently didn't break the huddle until 17 seconds, making an audible impossible, as well as Mike shuts off at 15 seconds. I am 1,000% with you, Delt. There was a bunch of times where I was like, we need to go 2-minute offense right now. We need to go up tempo. We need to break. We can't huddle here. Every team has multiple 2-minute drives already scripted, and that they practice regularly. So why didn't we go into that? I don't understand, but I'm glad that you saw it as well, Delt, because absolutely, I want to see us switch into that. to really put the gas pedal down and really take it to the defense, especially when they're getting tired. Right? We need to capitalize on all those things. Make it so they can't substitute guys in there that would help them if we decide to run the ball, right? Or help them if we decide to pass the ball, right? We need to be more aware of those situations. Situational awareness is still something that this team is working on. And I thank you so much for saying that. Now, let's see here. And also, he says it allows the defense to get set, takes away aggression, and makes us predictable. Absolutely. I agree 1,000%. Now, Ryan said a bunch of good stuff too, like the no bubble screens to Jordan Addison, please. Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes in the right situation, but we just can't force screens, especially when they're brutally obvious, you know? So we gotta do better at that. I'd like to better, instead of a bubble screens, I'd like to see a quick slant, or I'd like to see a drag route or something where it's just like a quick pass, get the ball out of the hands, and make the same effect as a run, you know? Sometimes when you line up in that screen, it's just so obvious. And if a guy that doesn't know the true in-depths of the X's and O's, like Delt or other fans or other pundits, if I can see it, I know the other team can see it, especially the guys on the field. So that always irks me too. So I totally agree. Ryan says, Greg Roman likes the blitz, so Justin Herbert decisions and under center will dictate the pace. Vikings offense is too slow, even if they don't run the ball. You're basically telling the defense what you're doing. Absolutely. I see two guys that definitely are thinking a lot alike, and I totally co-sign with what they're saying there. I want to go and I want to talk about, let me see here. I want to put that away. Oh, hold on. It's probably because I have to pull it up. Hey, what the heck? There it is. So one thing that I've seen a lot of people say on X and in YouTube comments, because I like to watch breakdowns, I like to see what other people are saying. I like to see. I want to get as much of of context as I can, so I can make a good educated guess and try to stick with the best probabilities that I can calculate here. And I've seen a lot of people being like, man, last time we faced them, they tore us up, and I'm scared that they're going to do the same thing. And I'm like, oh, really? Man, it must have been last week or the week before. Maybe. No, it must have been last year that they tore us up. And I'm like, wait a second. We didn't play them last year. We played them back in 2023. Back when Kirk Cousins was our quarterback, when Alexander Madison was our running back, when Danielle Hunter was our only pass rusher, right? When a Caleb Evans was in our secondary. So that should tell you guys enough. I get it. Keenan Allen put up 215 yards last time. Of course, when you got a defense that still got a lot of the same players that Ed Donatel had put together, I think that was B-Flow's first year as our offensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's going to be a lot harder for us to stop the pass. But now he's got a lot of guys that are B-Flow type of guys. Our defense is completely different. Our pass rush is completely different. On top of the fact that our secondary is top 10 in a lot of pass defense stats, as well as in top 5 in a bunch of them, right? So when I look at this game, I'm like, what could be really scaring some people here? And I'm like, man, oh no, I get it. Kirk Cousins, he's going to throw the game-ending interception in the red zone. I knew it. Kirk Cousins. Skull Mafia, what's going on, brother? I freaking knew it. It's Kirk Cousins again, guys. We're just scared he's going to come out of nowhere. We're going to substitute in him at the last second because he's the red zone guy. We nobody knows, but we made a trade for him secretly this week, and we're about to unveil him today. Guys, that team that we played is equally a different team than we are now. Jim Harbaugh wasn't the coach for them that year. He's put a whole new culture and a whole new philosophy behind this team. So they're going to be different. We're going to be different because we're 2 years removed from that. Our defense has flourished since then. We've picked up a bunch of different guys. Blake Cashman was definitely not on the team last or that game. So I don't understand why people are being so scared. And two, if last year mattered and it was such a indicator of what's to come, we'd be like 5-1 right now, or 4-2, right? Because we did so well last year. And I say that just to say that this year is uniquely different. We got to look at what we have. Their O-line is severely banged up, and they're slowly starting to get healed up. Ours was extremely banged up earlier than theirs, and we're already much further ahead in our O-line being back to full strength compared to them. So advantage Vikings. Their trenches in the last 3 games have been horrendous. So advantage Vikings. The thing is, they got things like they didn't have to travel, so they got a little bit more rest. They got a better practice schedule. They're at home, so they have some home field advantage. So it's going to get loud in there, right? But when you start looking at all that, advantage, almost the majority of the advantages come on our side. Now, mind you, we're not a consistent football team yet. We're still dealing with discipline issues. We come up with bad penalties when we shouldn't. We bite on plays that we shouldn't. We need to have more discipline. We need to be more consistent in our play. That means our O-line needs to get better at run blocking, doing better at the zone block or the zone blocking scheme that is the Mike Shanahan tree like philosophy way. We need to get to that, and that's only going to happen the longer our O-line stays healthy and can continue working on these things. And I have no doubt that throughout the rest of the season, we're going to definitely improve and our consistency is going to get better. I think that starts tonight. I think this is a perfect situation where the opposing team is going to be a good challenge, but it's going to be a challenge that we can easily overcome. That's why I'm saying the probabilities, I think that we can definitely go ahead and win this game is definitely higher on our side than on the Chargers. Like I said, 54% to like 46% or 53-47. But like I said, my ideal, man, I want to go out there and see a first half that reminiscent of last year where we just completely stomp them and come away with a massive lead. And then finish the second half with the adjustments in the second half gameplay that we've displayed this year. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have faith and I'm confident in this Minnesota Vikings team. And I think we got this, guys. I think that we're going to be served a nice, hard-fought, decisive win. Something where we can say, hey, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't our best performance, but we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot a ton of times. We managed to overcome and we didn't lose control. We didn't have this back and forth, losing the lead, all this BS that gives ammunition to others to say, they ain't got nothing. They got lucky. You know, I think we're going to see a game where it's going to be difficult for people to say they got lucky. If it wasn't for that late game interception, something like that, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're in for a treat today. That's why I'm going to be on the watch party today with Mr. Yogi and the crew. I think everybody else is going to be on there. I'm not sure. I think, Mike, you're doing your own, but I'm pretty sure Yogi and them would be happy to have you if you wanted to switch it up and join the guys. Let me get caught up here with the chat. Two-Tone, what up, brother? What is going on? I love you, brother. Skull Mafia as well. Paul is in the house. Ah, man, the OGs are here, man. Mike, Sports Vibe. I'm talking that talk, brother. Talking that talk. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, guys. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. I hope to hit there by the end of the calendar year. So your likes, your comments, your chats definitely help fuel that algorithm to kind of reach more Vikings fans. And yeah, I'll keep giving you guys my honest, optimistic, as well as unbiased takes. I definitely try to be realistic first before I start throwing my optimism in, just like you saw today, where I give you guys what I really feel might happen, what's close to reality, and then my optimism. Like, I want to see my Vikings go out there, come up with 2 defensive scores to start the game. I want to see Carson just dice up this freaking this secondary, put up 2 touchdowns themselves, have Andre Madison run one in, and just run away with it. I really want to see that. And then I want to see us completely dominate the second half and not give an ounce of hope to these Chargers. I really want that. But I know that if I make that prediction, I'm drinking the purple Kool-Aid, and I don't want to do that for you guys. But that's what my fandom side wants to do, wants to say. What's going on, Chris? What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining me. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. And you guys got any questions, any ideas? What are your guys' predictions? I say realistically, I feel like we got a 1-score game win, a decisive 1-score game. I think that we're going to be the most consistent that we've been in a while today. I think that our strengths uniquely hinder their weaknesses that are mostly due to their injuries. They're so one-dimensional right now. They're just 65% of their passing plays are passes, or 65% of their plays are passes, right? So they're very one-dimensional. I think we can capitalize. If we can, also Justin Herbert, his production levels dip when he's under pressure. So and we blitz second most in the league on top of the disguise pressure. Might be a long day. Might be a long day for Justin Herbert. Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that there's gonna be some guys out there on the other team that are gonna definitely get their numbers. They're gonna definitely do their thing. But I feel like aside from that, our strengths will kind of make those guys' offensive efforts or efforts in general, defensive efforts, anything like that, moot. Not really something to worry about in the grand scheme of it all. Like, I know when it starts happening, it might feel overwhelming in the moment, but at the end of the game, we'll look back and be like, hey, you know what? He had a pretty damn good game, but it didn't even matter. Look at the score. Look at how much time of possession that we had. They sure tried to get their own, and they did get some points, but our Vikings were just better. And I think that's what's going to happen tonight, guys. I really appreciate you guys. Man, you guys are the OGs. I absolutely love every single one of you guys. And like always, I love every single one of you guys, regardless of the fan base. And I always want the best for your team, unless you're playing my team. And then at that point, all I care is that you don't get any injuries, because you guys know how much I hate injuries. Most Vikings fans hate injuries. Let's be real. We are snake bitten this year when it comes to injuries, but I think that we're starting to get healthy, and the healthier that we get, I think the more consistent and the more discipline that we're going to get. And hopefully for the last third of this season, that's when I hope that we are looking like the juggernaut that I think a lot of people expected coming into the season. So any other questions? Any comments, concerns from you guys before we wrap up? Let me switch the image here. Take that one down. Yes, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. But yes, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all you guys stopping by and indulging me in my breakdown and in my wild delusions, if nothing less. If it's not accurate, thank you for indulging in my delusions. But I'm hoping that all the research that I've done today and all the numbers that I've crunched haven't led me astray. And I'm hoping that we come away with a convincing win. All right, guys, I really appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great one today. Let's finish out with the show intro.